subtractive and additive manufacturing, and which will be useful on particular cases, like where we can use additive and where we can use subtractive. So this will be the agenda of today's webinar, and it is going to be mid-average level. Some of you might be knowing about subtractive and additive manufacturing uh, more than anyone else, but I hope you can manage along with them. So I'll proceed with the first slide. So on subtractive, or either if it is subtractive manufacturing or additive manufacturing, designing is the first part. Like every engineer or every company has a designing process. Like even if you want to print any 3D printed part or additive manufacturing part, or even you want to manufacture anything from subtractive manufacturing, the first thing you want is the design. So design is nothing but translating your ideas into reality. In the past, people used to draw with drafters and pencils. Now we have CAD softwares for this designing process. So each and every design file can be transferred to a additive manufacturing sector or subtractive manufacturing file to convert it into a 3D object. So the main purpose of designing is to create, implement, evaluate, and improve. So whereas in the current trend and technology, the create and implementation is easy, and evaluation makes it more difficult. That is why you have CAE softwares also. So that's the basic need of designing. So this is called design, generally translating your ideas into reality. You might be knowing this. And the next important thing is product development process. Each and every industry, it's starting from aerospace to a small scale sectors, everyone follow a process called PLM, so product life cycle management. So the process always starts with concept. It may be any industry. Always, whatever the product you're going to print or whatever the product you're going to manufacture with subtractive manufacturing, everything starts with a concept. From that, you will decide the parameters, and then you will go for simulation, and then you will go for virtual prototype, and then the design analysis. If the design file satisfied, then you will go for the production, or else you will go to the first step and modify the concept again. So this is the process which every industry follows. So the physical prototype is a place where subtractive manufacturing and additive manufacturing comes into play, whereas subtractive you can use it on large scale manufacturing as well. So what are the needs for engineering design? So we all know that without engineering design, we cannot translate our ideas to the layman. For example, engineers can understand any toolings or tolerance value, everything, but it has to be common for the layman also. Even a lower level layman should understand what exactly it is. That is why we need engineering graphics. So with the help of engineering drawings and with the help of two-dimensional drafting, the subtractive manufacturing and additive manufacturing comes into play. So this is how general engineering graphics diagram will look like. So it will contain a lot of values like dimensions, holes, hidden lines, which means like the cut through pockets. All these things will be mentioned in the design drawing for the clear understanding of a normal layman. So they will be understanding each and every point of this, and they'll be going for the production in case of subtractive manufacturing. Whereas in case of additive manufacturing, only the additional file, the additive manufacturing file, is needed. So let's move into the first important thing called CAD. CAD, you can either call it as computer-aided drafting or computer-aided design. So the main purpose of CAD is to design the model which you wanted to make, like the prototype or the production part you wanted to make. So you might have known different CAD softwares among the world, either for civil sectors or for mechanical sector, like SolidWorks, like CATIA, or if in case of civil sectors, you have softwares like Revit for the BIM modeling. So these kind of things is generally used to create for the creation of the model and modification of the model and analysis of the model. So the main use of CAD is like you can do the modification at any part of the stage, even during your production time. If you wanted to alter something or if you wanted to make any changes to your model, you can do even at the last minute. That is the main advantages of CAD. So, and second important thing in a field is CAE and CAM. So the first is design. When you have a design file, then you wanted to analyze whether the product will withstand the strength or stress or anything. And then you will go for the CAM production. CAM is like computer-aided manufacturing, which is you can call it as subtractive manufacturing. So I'll move on to additive manufacturing. Additive manufacturing is a process where you will print a three-dimensional object layer by layer. So you will be using materials to join and make the objects which you create a design file, and the design file will be printed layer by layer. 3D and subractive manufacturing. In the other word, I can say subractive
Hi,
manufacturing.
Dana. Sorry to interrupt you, but your voice is chopping. Can you say it again, like the last slide?
Yes, yes.
A little bit
So
slower.
the sure.
Thanks.
So manufacturing in the additive manufacturing, but I'm printing by layer by layer. So we are using the three-dimensional object by printing it layer by layer. So there are different methods in 3D printing. Maybe a liquid, but each and every type more print. For example, if you have a square, the square will be cut number of slices one by one. In the next, how it will be printing. The common term for additive manufacturing is 3D printing. And subractive manufacturing, call it as like carve manufacturing. Carve model to get your shapes. For example, if you have a block of material, carve out the that is how we'll be doing the subractive manufacturing. There are different process in the subractive manufacturing, like milling, drilling, and other process. So the material will be carved and the material will be removed from the block to get the object. Whereas in case of manufacturing, it will be only on this image, you will get a clear understanding of A will be subractive manufacturing and B will be additive manufacturing. The material will form of block.
Dana, sorry to interrupt, Dana. Dana, I think your voice is chipping actually. There is some break in the voice.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, quite better now. Yeah.
So everyone can hear me now? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay.
So the A image will be subractive manufacturing and B will be additive manufacturing. Material will be in the form of the will be in the form of block. The entire block, it may be square or rectangular, and it will be fed into the machine. Files like CAM files, and the machine will cut the object, and you will get the 3D object where you will have a large number of excess waste. Like there are ways to recycle the waste, but still you will be getting a lot of waste, and you will have another process called recycling process to recycle the material of waste to form into a material again. In case of B is the additive manufacturing, where the material will be in the form of powder, filaments, or liquid. But in the additive manufacturing, it will be fed only the required amount, and you will get the same 3D object, whereas the waste is minimal. Here the waste is considered as the supports or the raft which we are using. Raft is nothing but when you're printing the model, you will be having a base layer. So here also the waste can be recycled. So that's the main difference between the subractive and additive manufacturing. As I said, subractive manufacturing is cutting the materials from a solid block. It is also known as conventional manufacturing. In case of additive manufacturing, the process, the 3D objects is constructed successively by depositing the material in layers. I'll show you a short video of what is subractive and additive manufacturing. On the left-hand side, you can see subractive manufacturing where the material is removed and then the model is formed. In case of the right-hand side, the 3D printer prints only the required amount of material on top of the model layer by layer so that you will get the 3D output. So this is how subractive and additive manufacturing differs. So on the left-hand side, you can see an example. You have two final products. One is printed with additive manufacturing and one is done with subractive manufacturing. As I said in the earlier slide, here the extruder will deposit the material layer by layer. On the left hand side model, you can see number of layers in the model. So the each and every layer represents the model is cut into different slices, and the slices have been printed one by one. That is how you got the model. There are different methods in the additive manufacturing, like FDM, SLA, DLP, SLS, DMLS, etc. Whereas in subractive manufacturing, you can see on the top there is an initial block of material where you use techniques like milling, turning, grinding, and drilling, so that your final product is formed. So subractive manufacturing, you will be using CNCs or lathe machines to do this cutting and turning on thermoplastics, wood, acrylics, fabrics, metals, etc. Whereas in case of additive manufacturing, you have wide variety of materials, like even static dissipative materials are available, flexible materials like TPU, TPE are available, and even Ultim and Peak is also available in case of additive manufacturing. So that's the advantages of additive manufacturing in case of materials. The main advantages and disadvantages between subractive and additive manufacturing is CNC manufacturing is quite expensive in case of initial investment, whereas in case of additive manufacturing is quite cheap compared to subractive manufacturing. But when you go for the higher level of manufacturing, additive manufacturing is a bit slow process where you wanted to do batch production to do lot of models. Whereas in case of subractive manufacturing is a fast process for large scale manufacturing. Whereas when you have a small and flexible model, or else when you have a complex model, additive manufacturing is more easier compared to subractive manufacturing, because subractive manufacturing is limited to your design. So whereas if you have a complex design, you cannot do with subractive manufacturing, whereas that is possible with additive manufacturing. The common thing between additive and subractive manufacturing is that they both share a common file which is compatible with STL or OBJ file. The same STL and OBJ file can be compatible with both CNCs and additive manufacturing. As I said, the large scale volumetric density. So when you want to print large scale model, you will be preferring subractive manufacturing, whereas in case of a small production, and in case of uh, a quality and fine-tuned models like jewelries and these kind of things can be done with additive manufacturing without any problem. So let's move on to 3D printing. So in common term, additive manufacturing, we will be saying it as 3D printing, which is called three-dimensional printing of a solid object from a digital model. The digital model is the file which you have designed, or your engineer designed it, or you can download it from any website. There are n number of websites available, even from Stratasys. There is a website called Thingiverse where you will be getting a lot of three-dimensional files, so which you can print it and you can get the three-dimensional prototype ready in an hour or so. So additive process is, as I mentioned, successive layers of material laid down to form different shapes. Process, so it will be printed layer by layer. So how 3D work? The first and basic thing which you need is a CAD file, and then you will convert it into a STL file, which is like a triangular facet file, and that file will be fed into a slicing software. Each and every 3D printer and each and every additive manufacturing industry have their own slicing software, and there are n number of third-party softwares also available to convert an STL file into a 3D printable sliced file. As you can see, the layers of the slice, the same CAD model is converted into number of layers. Each and every rings is different layers, and that will be fed into a 3D printer, which will have its own mechanism to print the 3D object. And the process does not end here. After the 3D printed model is ready, you will be going for a step called post-processing, where you will be doing the finishing steps like polishing or smoothing it or painting it. These can be done in the post-processing process. The same process is there in subractive manufacturing also. Your CAD file will be fed into a software called CAM software. There are different CAM softwares called NXCAM, and there are softwares like CATIA. These can be used to convert the 3D file into a tool path and command file. In case of subractive manufacturing, the file will not be sliced, but it will be converted into tool path. So it will be converted as codes, G codes and M codes. That G codes and M codes will be fed into a CNC machine, which will follow the codes and to generate the 3D printed part. So this is the difference between additive and whereas in case of subaractive manufacturing, you need a skilled labor, like for converting the tool path and to monitor the machine, you need a skilled machinist. In case of additive manufacturing, you even the common man can do with a 3D printer. It's just plug and play type. So the main application of additive and subaractive manufacturing is in the prototyping process. And as I mentioned, for a small plastic part like bracket or something, 3D printing is most suitable. Whereas in a large scale manufacturing or fabrication type, subaractive manufacturing is used as of now. But in the future, additive manufacturing will be equally competing with subaractive manufacturing in case of large scale manufacturing as well. Producing finished parts. However, for the producing finished part for the direct usage, for the direct applications, CNC machines is still the favored machine. But in case of complex and intricate items, CNC machine will not give the same level of quality which additive manufacturing gives. So for complex objects, additive manufacturing is being used. For hybrid additive and subaractive manufacturing, it's always good for the broken parts, and the materials can be 3D printed using milling and can be finished with the additive manufacturing. It's like combining subaractive with additive manufacturing. For example, when you are printing a prosthetics or any object, you can use subaractive and additive manufacturing together. For the complex and difficult object, you can use additive manufacturing, whereas in case of a normal large production, you can use subaractive, and you can merge them together. So that will become a perfect solution. Sorry for that. However, because the additive process is so detailed, it can only produce single prototypes or small batch production. The reason for this additive manufacturing is it's cost effective, because of the free fabrication of complex object, you can save by reducing the labor time and cost. Whereas in case of subaractive manufacturing, the subaractive manufacturing is limited for detail, and it is cost effective as well. It requires a skilled machinist or CNC router to follow the cost significantly. And also you will be having a lot of waste, which you will be recycling at the end of the day. One plus side of the subaractive manufacturing is that for large volume production, you don't have any problems with subaractive manufacturing, as it can be done without any problem. So we might have known about formative manufacturing as well. Formative manufacturing is nothing but like injection molding or die casting. It is also a part of subaractive manufacturing, whereas I'm mentioning it as separately as formative manufacturing, because injection molding, die casting, pressing is a different ball game, where companies will use the injected molded part to form different models. So formative manufacturing is FT price, and it costs more. Whereas when you use additive manufacturing, the same mold can be used different times without any problem. So there are machines like Stratasys PolyJet series where you can print injection molded parts, and you can use quite number of times compared to the normal thing in a lesser cost wise, and you will even get the high quality parts also. In case of additive manufacturing, you have variety of colors and wide range of materials, so you won't be having any problems in printing the injection molded parts also. So there are some constraints in formative manufacturing also. For injection molding, the main problem will be uneven wall thickness. When you have uneven wall thickness or sharp edges, it will be difficult for you to manufacture using subaractive manufacturing. Whereas in case of additive manufacturing, the wall thickness or sharp edges doesn't matter, because it will be printed exactly on the top of the model, so you won't be getting any damage on the model. And for die casting, when you're casting the model, the weight should be between 30 grams to 10 kg. But in case of additive manufacturing, you don't have any weight constructions or limitations. So that's the main advantage between additive and subtractive manufacturing. So the main advantages of additive manufacturing is that you can get the same object where, like I'll tell you, when I'm printing a pen stand for me, using when I'm printing it with subtractive manufacturing, or when I'm doing the same thing with additive manufacturing, I can get 84% of less weight compared to the subtractive manufacturing, because in case of additive, I can print the model hollow. If I'm not going to use it like on a direct platform, I can reduce the weight, which is possible with additive manufacturing, because here you can control a factor called infill density. The infill density can be as minimum as 10% to 100%, whereas in subtractive manufacturing you won't be getting that option. The only one key disadvantage is that it is not used on large run production. That's the only disadvantage from additive manufacturing. But I hope the researches are going on, and the materials and the different varieties of outputs from different companies will overcome this disadvantage. And in the future, I hope additive manufacturing will be covering the large run production also. Whereas in case of subtractive manufacturing, it might be having a lot of plus, but on considering the molds and on considering the plastic based products, it's not widely preferred among the specialists, because it's only suitable for metals like aluminum parts, like acrylics and these things, which can be cutted easily. But for interior designing or for a detailed designing on a plastic, on these things, additive manufacturing is preferred. Even considering the economy also, like it's fairly a high investment process, subtractive manufacturing. Selection criteria. So you will be having a confusion like, so what kind of selection criteria? So where I can choose additive manufacturing, where I can choose subtractive manufacturing. So that maybe depend on 4 factors. Actually, it is 5. The 5th factor is cost. So I'll come to the cost factor at the end. The 4 different factors are quantity, speed, tolerance, and function. So here, quantity is like how many models you are going to print. If either it is a higher volume production or either it is a lower volume production. So on quantity wise, CNC or subtractive manufacturing has a higher benefit. So it wins the quantity wise. So if you want to go print a large number of quantity, you will go for CNC or subtractive manufacturing. Whereas in speed wise, however, for large production, additive manufacturing is slow, but for manufacturing a prototype in an instant, when you want to make only 1 or 2 prototypes, additive manufacturing is more speed compared to subtractive manufacturing, because in subtractive manufacturing you will be having a lot of process to follow to get a single prototype. In case of additive, for single or 1 or 2 prototypes, you can do it without any problems in additive manufacturing. So speed wise, you will go for additive manufacturing. And tolerances. So when you have tolerances, for example, if you have an assembly, you wanted to have tolerance between each assembly to make it as a fit. So you will be having tolerance constraints in CNC process, whereas in additive manufacturing, the tolerance is easily adjusted with the machine itself. So even on the design file, we will be giving a limited tolerance value, but whereas compared to subtractive manufacturing, additive process will have lesser tolerances difficulty. So on considering the tolerance wise, additive manufacturing wins. On the next one is function. So when you want a tensile strength and robust product, you will be going for the subtractive manufacturing. Whereas in additive manufacturing, you have different wide materials which offer the same tensile and robustness, and even the impact strength. Considering the materials like ABS, PEEK, Ultem, and like you have nylon-based materials for flexibility, and you have UV sustainability materials like ASA, and you have electrostatic materials like these static dissipative materials. So these can be function based. So on function based, subtractive and additive manufacturing is both equal. The main constraint is cost. So when you have a higher investment and when you have a higher budget plans, you will be going for subtractive manufacturing. And when you have a smaller scale industry, or you are a just startup company, you will be going for the additive manufacturing. So this is the main selection criteria. So it depends on quality, speed, tolerance, and function. There's one more thing called quality. quality wise, you will be getting the quality product from subtractive manufacturing directly, whereas in case of additive manufacturing, you have to do a process, as I mentioned earlier. It's called post processing, where you will be doing all the quality related process. So these are some of the 3D printed parts from different machines around the world, where on the left hand side you can see PolyJet with a different color blended object, and you can see injection molded part from a Stratasys machine. And on the center you can see architectural design, which has a quite complex design, which still been printed without any support. And in case of additive manufacturing, you have water soluble supports also available, like PVA, SR30. These kind of supports can be printed, and then it can be dissolved in water without any damage to the model, actual model. And on the right hand side you can see flexible models like TPU. So these are different materials and different complex model which cannot be done properly with subtractive manufacturing. And there is some comparison between subtractive and additive manufacturing. So in case of subtractive manufacturing, you will get the same thing on the additive manufacturing as well, but you will be having the constraint and like compatibility with different materials, and handling the material and changing the design file at any instant to modify it, even if the file is not printed properly, or even if the file is not fitting properly. You can do changes to the additive manufacturing at the last moment, whereas in subtractive manufacturing you have to follow the process. In the modern day additive manufacturing, there have been it has been used in different sectors. Like there is a completely 3D printed part from Stratasys, and there's a completely 3D printed car pod from Big Rep. So it's been in the industry for a while, and it's been changing the trend frequently. So the trend is moving towards additive manufacturing. Even on construction side, people started to use 3D printing for constructing 3D printed buildings compared to the conventional methods, because 3D printed 3D printing or additive manufacturing process will take lesser time, and also it will be more stronger compared to the conventional type as well. So there are few 3D printed buildings in and around Dubai itself. You might be seeing them around Emirates building. And for architectural design, for these kind of manufacturing or these kind of prototypes, CNCs are not most suitable, whereas additive manufacturing is more useful. So these are some of the real 3D printed constructed buildings in Dubai and in other parts of the world as well. And even recently, Dubai has printed a 3D printed house also. So it's been there on every industry. So when you take aerospace, even Airbus is printing a lot of 3D printed parts on the Airbus A380, and they've been successfully using them in the real time application as well. So they have their certified aerospace material Ultim, and they are using that material for 3D printed objects. And you can go for the interior sectors. You can print chairs, tables, and you can even print the prosthetics also, like in case of medical. You might have seen 3D printed have been a great success in a medical industry. In case of dental, people are using 3D printing objects to print teeth and use it as a replacement, and they are using it for printing braces. These kind of things can also be printed with additive manufacturing. So the application is vast. When you consider additive manufacturing, the application and material is vast. It always depends on the creative minds, like how creatively you are thinking and how creatively you are implementing. And it can be used on signage industry as well. When you have a signage industry, you can use it for printing capital letters, or you can use it on the exterior signage industry to print the models related to signage industry also. It's also the current trend. The main conclusion. So when we come to the conclusion, like I cannot say that the additive manufacturing will be completely replacing the subtractive manufacturing, because each one of these methods have their own ability and have their own quick turnaround time. So all these will have a all these will have their own solid place in the world. But however, considering the research going on in the field of additive manufacturing and the materials which they are implementing and the materials which they are producing, which will be giving a higher end on additive manufacturing in case of accuracy and material versatility, so that the subtractive manufacturing units will be equally handled by additive manufacturing in the upcoming future. Even on the current crisis, COVID-19 crisis, many industries started printing head mask, and they have started printing the ventilators, respiratory organs, and the breathing things using 3D printed objects to help the front leaders like the medical sector. Even we have some uh, to help the people who are in need, actually. So that's how 3D printing will be used, because you can use it on any case. Anyone can use it compared to the subtractive manufacturing. So at this kind of crisis situation, people can be more useful with additive manufacturing compared to subtractive manufacturing. So that's it from my side, actually. So I finished it little fast. So we will be having a extended webinar. On the next webinar, we will be discussing on the materials, like what kind of materials and what are the advantages of those materials, and how they are used in the industry, and which industry are benefiting from those materials, and which are the machines which are offering those materials. Like, we will be discussing that on our next webinar. So that's it from my side today. So if you have any question, so I can answer it now.
Yes, I do have a question here.
Yes.
Yes, it's regarding the molds that you showed. It was 3D printed. How was that done?
The injection mold.
Yes.
Okay, so it's actually you can do it on design basis. When you have a injection A and B part, for example, for making the mold, you need A and B part. The A and B part is designed separately, and then it will be printed, and that printed mold will be used to create the object. So it's something like A part and B part, which will be printed,
okay,
and then that can be used to make a mold out of it.
Hi, Khalid. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Arash here.
Hi, man. How are you?
Good, thank you. Yeah, adding to Dana's thing, we have a material called digital ABS from Stratasys, where you can print the core and cavity for the molding. So as it told, we can print the A part and B part, and once you combine together, it will become a injection molding part.
Okay.
And it has some limitation in applications. You know, you cannot expect 100 number or 200 numbers of parts. You can only expect one limited number, like 10 number, 20 number. So
okay.
this kind of limitations actually. So if you want to get the actual part, without 3D printed, sometimes you have to compromise with the material. But while in the injection molding, you don't need to compromise with the material. Whatever the material you want,
Yes.
you can get it done. So for the actual part, it will be useful.
Okay. All right. Got it. Yeah.
Anyone else have question on subtractive and additive manufacturing?
I have one question actually. Hello.
Giselle,
no.
anyone else?
Nothing from my side.
Yes, sir.
And I have one more question in the support side. On the same slide you talked about the molds. You talked
Yes.
about the support.
Yes.
You talked about the
PVA and
PVA,
SR30.
right? You're talking about the.
Yes.
Okay. So the PVA. What's the other component you said?
SR30.
Material.
SR30. SR30 is a water soluble.
Okay, I never heard of it. I heard of PVA.
Yes.
I never used CR30.
SR30 is a material which is only available with Stratasys F123 machines and with MakerBot Method X, because it's from Stratasys, and it can be used on Stratasys and Method X machines only.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Makes sense. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any more questions, guys?
I'm good.
I have a question actually.
Yes.
Yeah, my question is earlier you said 3D printing is done by layers, right? Like different layers stacked on top of each other.
Yes. Yes.
So is there like any optimum or standard thickness of the different layers, or does it vary with the material we use?
No, we can control the thickness actually. So it's we call it as a resolution here in 3D printing. So if you want to reduce the number of layers, like, or the layer thickness, you can increase the resolution. If the resolution is high, you will be getting a minimum thickness, so that you will not be seeing the layers too much. So when you increase the resolution, you will be having the a thicker layer, so the layers are easily visible. So we can control it. It is called as resolution, and each and every 3D printer has a control from layers. Like for an example, if you take MakerBot or Stratasys, it has a resolution from varies from 400 to 100 microns, and even some printers can print up to 20 microns also.
Okay, but that will have some effect on the production time and cost, right? I assume like greater the resolution, like it's going to take longer time and cost more.
Yes.
Obviously, when you increase the thickness, when you increase the thickness, when you increase the resolution, the print time will be longer, but you will get the quality part actually. So that it depends on what purpose we are going to use the product. For example, if I'm going to keep it just as a prototype, I'll be printing it with lesser resolution. But if I'm going to use it as an end-used part, I'll be printing it with higher resolution, so that I'll get the quality part direct from the 3D printer. So I'll be having lesser post-processing time.
Just to add on to what Dana said, if you're printing something with a finer feature, so you don't have to do lots of post-processing on it. So post-processing time would come down drastically. So the sanding and lacquering, you don't have to do it in a vast manner. If you print it with a bigger thickness, so you can see those lines. At that point of time, if you want so much of detailing, so then you have to sand it down. Just to reduce that time, you can print it at a finer accuracy or a finer resolution, and even fitment will be proper with the finer resolution.
Okay, sir.
And as you said, yeah, time and material would be a bit more than the lesser resolution.
Okay, sir.
I'll generally when you triangle, it's quality, speed, and time. So these three on three sides, you will get any two an instant. For example, if you want good quality and higher the speed, the time will be faster the speed, time process will be high. So you will be getting any two at an instant. The same time, when you want the model to be printed fast, and the quality will be less. So it is inversely proportional. You will be getting any two, which is inversely proportional to the other one actually. Quality, speed, time.
Assume you are creating a hydroforming tool or a vacuum forming tool, and you need finer features. At that point of time, what you can do is you can print it with a higher resolution, and the post-processing time will be nothing, and you don't have to sand it down a lot. So where you are removing so much of material, which will definitely hamper the accuracy level. So at that point of time, you print it with a higher accuracy, and you go ahead with the high resolution, and you go ahead with the forming application. So whether it's hydroforming, vacuum forming, or vacuum casting kind of an application, you can easily print it with higher resolution, and you can use it for these kind of applications.
Quick question. The resolution.
Sorry?
Quick question about the resolution. Now, does it change the amount of material used? For example, if I make it 0.1 mm versus 0.5 mm, will it change the material used?
No, the resolution does not play with material actually. The infill density play with material. So if you change the resolution, there won't be much changes with material. But when you play with infill density, the amount of material which will be filled inside the layer, The thickness, it's the outer layer. The material which will be filled inside the layer is called infill. So when you play with the infill, the material will be changing, differing. But in case of resolution, you won't be getting much difference on material actually.
Will you see the difference if it's a big item such as like a meter tall item?
Even for a bigger object, you won't be having much difference actually. So there will be a slight difference, but not on the maximum extent on resolution side. But in case of the infill side or the density side, you will be having a lot change actually.
But the time consumption would be too much.
Yes. The additive manufacturing has been widely used on even for soft signage frames and for branding channel letters, or even on ornaments on architectural sites as well. For printing jewelries, for finer detailed jewelries, additive manufacturing is widely preferred. And even on interior decors, something like which I showed, furnitures, chairs, and complex objects, these can be printed on a design interior decors as well. Even on custom sculptures, when you want to print a sculpture, additive manufacturing is more easier. And even if we can print ourselves, if we have a 3D scanner, we can scan ourselves and we can print ourselves. So that is more easier actually compared to subtractive manufacturing. Any questions?
Hi, this is Akash from this side. I'm from Netherlands.
Yes.
Actually, I'm from Jaguar. We actually we manufacture products for the building materials. Since
Okay.
we have different kind of designs, sometimes it is too complicated. So is it
Okay.
possible to create a prototype to show it to the customers as a samples, be it faucet or sanitary or anything it may be?
Okay. If the design file, yes, we can do the prototype actually. The design file should be more relevant for additive manufacturing. In case if you designed it in a Revit software, I hope you might be using Revit, right?
Yep.
So when you are designing it with Revit, you have to design it as per 3D printing basis. If you are designing on a rendering basis, it cannot be printed directly, as you will be having different floors and different layers, which will be one over the other.
Okay.
Right. So
Yeah.
if you want to print as a prototype, you should have a first floor separately, the second floor separately, or the ground floor separately. So then it can be assembled together to form the model, the same architectural model. Yeah.
Okay. So any complicate, I mean, any design can be made, right?
Of course, yeah. Any design can be made.
Okay.
Because we have water soluble materials also. Even if you have lesser thickness on the walls, when the walls are very fine and it is having a fine thickness, even that can be printed with the water soluble materials, PVA, and then can be dissolved easily.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, do you have any regards to metal additive manufacturing?
I couldn't hear your question. Can you repeat it again?
Do you do any additive manufacturing with metal?
Metal? As of now, we are not dealing with any metal 3D printing, but there are metal 3D printers as well in the world. We have been partnered with Concept Laser earlier, but we are not doing any metal now as of now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, sir. I have a general doubt on additive manufacturing. Yeah, present situation is still additive manufacturing will be suitable for mass production.
Yes, you can do it, but the batch time and batch production will be higher compared to the subtractive manufacturing. For example, I'll take a simple thing. Like if I want to make phone cases, I wanted to make like 100 phone cases. I can still do it. Like I can design and I can produce it with 3D printer itself. But the production time will be higher compared to the subtractive manufacturing. But still, you can use it on large scale production. It depends on how many machine you have and what are the file, which type of file or which model you will be printing. If the file is huge, then it's better to go with subadditive manufacturing. If the file is small and you want to print in a large production scale, you can go with additive manufacturing. There won't be a problem.
Okay, but the consumption of time is only more. Otherwise, we'll get a good finished product, right?
Yes, you will be getting a good quality product, but the time consumption will be
of time
higher.
is more, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any more questions? I believe nobody, you already answered all of the questions. Thank you so much, Dana. I'll be uploading this webinar on our Facebook and other social medias like YouTube and LinkedIn. And I hope guys that you learned something from here, and wait for our next invitations. And stay safe, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. But can you send us the link?
I'm sorry?
Can you send us the link in YouTube?
Sure, we'll send you a link in the from our YouTube. We'll send an e-shot regarding this webinar. Okay, thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye bye.
Ano ba ito yung stop?